Call this meeting to order. Pledge allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Prince?
Here.
Ms. Perez?
Here.
Mr. Pavoni?
Here.
Mr. Taylor?
Here.
Mr. Corman?
Here.
Ms. Palmer?
Here.
Mr. Person? Roll call, Mr. Mayor, one absent.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Corman.
I move the absent council member be excused.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Corman, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that the the absent council member be excused. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. All right, we've got a proclamation.
Okay, this proclamation is for Leadership Eastside Day. Whereas Leadership Eastside has convened leadership for the greater good for 10 years, and whereas Leadership Eastside is an inclusive organization that promotes connections, develops and enriches leaders, and is a catalyst for communities to address important issues and meet the challenges of a diverse and dynamic region. And whereas Leadership Eastside believes everyone deserves to thrive, that collaboration transcends silos and narrow interests, and that the people affected by an issue must be a part of the solution. And whereas Leadership Eastside envisions a diverse, vibrant region served by skilled leaders engaged in creating healthy and mutually supportive communities. And whereas Leadership Eastside has graduated more than 400 of our region's business, nonprofit, and public sector leaders who are actively serving in their community in many capacities, including mayors and other elected officials, commissioners, directors for community-based boards, nonprofit staff, and volunteers. Now, therefore, I, Dennis Law, Mayor of the City of Renton, do hereby proclaim November 9th, 2015 to be Leadership Eastside Day in the City of Renton, and I encourage all citizens to join me in recognizing the many contributions that Leadership Eastside has made in our community. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Renton to be affixed this 9th day of November 2015, and it is signed by Mayor Dennis Law.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Corman.
I move that council concur in the proclamation.
Moved by Mr. Corman, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that the council concur in the proclamation. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. And it looks like there's no one here to receive the proclamation, so we'll just send it over to Leadership Eastside. All right, next on the agenda is the administrative report. Mr. Covington.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Council, a couple of items to make sure you're aware of in the community. First, I think I reported last week that we had a couple of our Public Works folks going over to the annual State American Public Works Association Rodeo Competition. This is where our folks compete in against their peers for things like snowplow, sander truck courses. They back up. They do all sorts of technical things with big pieces of equipment. And we had two members of our Public Works staff, Kim Bratton and Rob Blackburn, participate, both placed. Kip in the snowplow sander truck course and Rob in that, as well as the backhoe course and the loader, and he replaced 7th place overall. So we appreciate that. That's good to know for the public. That means that when these guys go out there, they know how to operate these pieces of equipment and do it in a way that they only pick up the dirt that they're supposed to and not the pipes and lines and other things they're not supposed to. So we appreciate that. We have a number of road work that we continue to work on, and so the public, again, in these areas where we have intermittent closures, just remind people to use caution. Main Avenue continues, and there are a number of others around. I did want to point out a major one that, and that's Logan Avenue. That street is now partially closed, all southbound traffic that will be closed for the duration of the construction of that project. So there are detours, so people just need to pay attention and watch those detour signs. We recognize there's some inconvenience there, and hopefully people will appreciate when the road is all done and it's a nice smooth road. At the end of next summer, they'll be pleased with the overall work. Finally, want to just announce again the Youth and Community Forum that will be held this Saturday, the 14th, from 9:30 to 12 p.m. at the 12 noon at the Renton High School cafeteria. This is for any member of the community to come, and the forum will be to discuss and enhance our relations between the police department, the youth, and the public, and so opportunities for people to participate, give their ideas, and we'll have members of the police department there, City staff will be there, and the idea will be just to give people an opportunity to talk about their experiences with police, ideas that they have about how we can improve our services and what they think a good law enforcement looks like and feels like to them. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Covington. Next on the agenda is audience comment. We have one member of public signed up, Amanda Schofield. As you're moving up, please give us your name and city of residence, and the clerk has a timer right next to her.
All new to me. Okay. My name is Amanda Schofield, and I live in Renton. That would be-
All we need.
I know. I was like, isn't that why I'm here? But so I already talked to the chief, I guess, of the police about the Cascade Park. I live directly across from Cascade Park, and over the last 6 months, I've seen a big deterioration to the point of where I'm picking up glass bottles of alcohol, little packages of, I don't know what's in it, to the point of where I'm picking up weed pipes, putting them in the trash, airsoft guns. I put out a fire this summer. I'm just worried that it's not going good in the last 6 months. And what can I can't do anything myself. So what needs to happen to make it a better place? Because hopefully someday I would like my own children to play there. And as it is right now, it's not a good area to play. One thing we do have is like the graffiti problem has subsided, right? We've stopped the graffiti on the fences, but I think this is even like a worse kind of. I'd rather have the graffiti right now compared to what I have now. Like I just left my house at 6 and there's 2 unidentified cars there chilling idling, doing, whatever they want to do. So I've called the police even this last Saturday about how there was one car there and I went to go get my mail, and then as I'm walking back another car pulls up and they go into the trunk of that car, and now there's 5 males out there doing. I'm not going to stare at them at 8 o'clock at night and figure out what they're doing. To where then I hear a glass bottle shatter and I go into the house and call the cops because it's 8 o'clock at night. Whatever you're doing is probably not legal, so I then call the cops. It takes roughly about 10 minutes to get there and they're already gone by then. I've called plenty of times on different things that I've saw across the street because I am directly across the street. I think one thing that would really help would be, we have a big floodlight, but it's like facing towards one of my neighbor's houses rather than facing towards the parking spots. I think that if I did have that, I could call and give more information rather than there's just 2, silvery looking cars and 5 sort of dark colored people. I can't tell at that point in time in the pure dark, and I'm not going to stare at them. So I think that would help. I also think that bringing something to the back side of the park, I don't know what exactly, because there's lots of things that's been thrown out, like a dog park, or some neighbors want basketball courts. Just something to bring the people to the back area of the park to where there's foot traffic. Whereas right now there isn't, and it's swampy, and that's a great place for people to do things that they're not supposed to be doing. I don't think we have the option of opening it up because of all the houses that are surrounded by it. So I ran out of ideas after all that.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Corman.
Yeah, I'd like to move that this testimony and the suggestions be referred to the administration for action.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion by Mr. Corman, second by Mr. Ravoni, that Cascade Park be sent to administration. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Mr. President, if I could,
Mr. Covington.
just a reminder that we actually appreciate the comments, and we'll certainly get back to you. The council is aware we are actively working on some ideas, one of which is, in fact, is acquiring some property that would open the park up. The idea of trimming trees and letting more light into the room, into the park, and doing some things that would discourage inappropriate activity there is something that the city is really actively working on. So we'll be happy to follow up with the council and with citizens to make sure
Yeah,
that we
well,
give you.
we're very active on that nextdoor.com.
Yeah.
We all
Yeah.
got onto that, and I've been posting things about what I'm seeing because I do live directly across the entrance, and we're all very happy with anything that can help change this.
Right.
Because it's not us as neighbors that are doing this. You know, we
Yeah.
have a bus line right in front of our house.
Yep.
That's where they're all coming from. Is like they get off the bus and where do they go? Straight to the park.
Yeah.
So I think that's our biggest issue is that we want to enjoy our park.
Yeah, well, I want to say we're grateful to you for being that vigilant.
Absolutely.
And we'll provide the help that you're looking for.
Thank you.
Thank you.
for
Thank
coming.
you.
All right, next on the agenda is the consent agenda. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items. Is there any item council wants to remove consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Corman.
seeing none, I'd move approval of the consent agenda as published.
Second?
Moved by Mr. Corman, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that we approve the consent agenda as published. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Next on the agenda is unfinished business. I have no unfinished. Ms. Perez.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Pavoni.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Taylor.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Corman.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I've got two different committees to report on. The first is Committee on Committees.
Okay, the 2016 council committee assignments is the topic of the report. And the Committee on Committee recommends the following council committee assignments for 2016. The Finance Committee will meet on the second and fourth Mondays at 5 p.m. Don Person is the chair, Armando Pavoni is the vice chair, and Ruth Perez is the member. The Utilities Committee will meet on the first and third Mondays at 4:30 p.m. Council seat number 4 is the chair, Ruth Perez is the vice chair, and council seat number 3 is the member. Public Safety Committee will meet on the second and fourth Mondays at 4 p.m. Armando Pavoni is the chair, Don Person is the vice chair, Ed Prince is the member. Planning and Development Committee will meet on the second and fourth Thursdays at 3 p.m. Ed Prince is the chair, council seat number 4 is the vice chair, and Armando Pavoni is the member. Community Services Committee meets on the second and fourth Thursdays at 4 p.m. Council seat number 3 is the chair, Ed Prince is the vice chair, and council seat number 4 is the member. And the Transportation Committee will meet on the first and third Mondays at 5 p.m. Ruth Perez is the chair, council seat number 3 is the vice chair, and Don Person is the member. And this is signed by the committee chair and members.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Corman.
move the council concur in the committee report.
Second?
Moved by Mr. Corman, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that the committees on committees, committee assignments are concurred with. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, thank you. And then I also have a Planning and Development Committee report. Then,
Okay, this report is regarding the CA zone density. The Planning and Development Committee recommends concurrence with the Planning Commission and staff recommendation to amend the maximum density allowed in the commercial arterial CA zone by community planning areas as follows. City Center and Highlands 60 dwelling units per acre, East Plateau and Kennydale 30 dwelling units per acre, and no attached housing in Cedar River, Benson, Talbot, and Valley. The committee further recommends repealing the moratorium on new residential development in the CA zone. The Planning and Development Committee recommends the ordinance regarding this matter be presented for first reading, and this is signed by the committee chair and members.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Corman.
move the council concur in the committee report.
Second?
Moved by Mr. Corman, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that the council concur in the Planning and Development Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it.
And that's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Corman. Ms. Palmer.
No unfinished business.
All right, we're moving on to resolutions and ordinances. We have 1 ordinance for first reading and 3 for second and final reading.
The first ordinance for first reading is an ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending Chapters 2 of Title 4 Development Regulations of the Renton Municipal Code, amending the residential zoning standards in the CA Commercial Arterial Zone.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Corman.
move the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting.
Second?
Moved by Mr. Corman, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that this ordinance be put on second and final reading at the next council meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
The first ordinance for second and final reading is an ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, establishing the property tax levy for the year 2016 for general city operational purposes in the amount of $37,250,000.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Corman.
I move.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. I'm ahead of the game.
That's okay.
Sorry, Mr.
I move adoption of this ordinance.
Second?
Moved by Mr. Pavoni, moved by Mr. Corman, second by Mr. Pavoni, that we adopt this ordinance. Because a roll call vote?
That's what I was trying to say. Mr. Prince,
Aye.
Ms. Perez,
Aye.
Mr. Pavoni,
Aye.
Mr. Taylor,
Aye.
Mr. Corman,
Aye.
Ms. Palmer.
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all ayes.
All right, the ayes have it. Next on the agenda is the authorization of property tax levy.
The ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, authorizing the property tax levy for the year 2016.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Corman.
move adoption of this ordinance.
Second?
Moved by Mr. Corman, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that we adopt this ordinance. It's a roll call vote.
Mr. Prince,
Aye.
Ms. Perez,
Aye.
Mr. Pavoni,
Aye.
Mr. Taylor,
Aye.
Mr. Corman,
Aye.
Ms. Palmer.
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all ayes.
The ayes have it.
The final ordinance for second and final reading is an ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, relating to the regular property tax levies for collection in 2016, implementing RCW 84.55.010, and finding substantial need to increase the regular property tax limit factor above the rate of inflation to 1% for a total limit factor of 101%.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Corman.
I move for adoption of the ordinance as read.
Second?
Moved by Mr. Corman, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that we adopt the ordinance. It's a roll call vote.
Mr. Prince,
Aye.
Ms. Perez,
Aye.
Mr. Pavoni,
Aye.
Mr. Taylor,
Aye.
Mr. Corman,
Aye.
Ms. Palmer.
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all ayes.
The ayes have it. Next on the agenda is new business. Ms. Perez.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Pavoni.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. On November 16th at 3:30, the Public Safety Committee will meet in the council conference room. One issue, it'll be emerging issues in public safety. That is all, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Taylor.
Yes, weighing in for the Finance Committee. We will have a Finance Committee meeting next Monday, November the 16th, 4:30 p.m., and the item will be on school impact fees. That is all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Corman.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to announce Committee of the Whole meeting for November 16th. That's Monday at 5:30 p.m. here in the council chambers. 3 items on that agenda. The first is Renton River Days wrap-up. Second item is neighborhood program update. And the third item is regional issues. And that is all, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Ms. Palmer.
Yes, the Transportation Committee will meet tomorrow, which is November 10th at 11 a.m. in the council conference room. 3 items on the agenda. The first is bridge replacement contract. Second item is Logan Avenue update. And the third is emerging issues in transportation. And that's it.
All right. Thank you. Next up is audience comment. Is there anyone that wants to make audience comment that hasn't? All right. What's the wish of the council?
Move we adjourn.
Second?
Moved and seconded, we adjourn by Mr. Corman, seconded by Mr. Pavoni. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned.